Morning. So today we're going to talk a little bit about magnets as we move through the next couple of days. We've already talked about electricity, and with electricity, we remember we were focusing mostly on our protons and our electrons that are circling around, and the protons have a positive charge, electrons have a negative charge, and that attraction is because opposites attract. And so today we're going to talk a little bit further about just how that affects magnets. So in Canvas, you're going to go ahead and click on in, and we're going to go down to our energy unit. And from there, we are going to be looking at magnets and solenoids. And today we're just going to talk about the magnet aspect of that. So go ahead and click that. Just remember with my notes, anything that is underlined is something that I'd like for you to get down in your notes as well. This will be helpful for when we are looking at getting closer to a test, and which for you guys is going to be on Monday. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this PowerPoint. And all right, so let's go ahead and get started. So the idea here is, once again, magnets are a force that we are going to be using. So if you think about, why isn't this in slideshow? That's fine. So if you think about what we're going to be discussing, is that we're still using our terms kinetic and potential energy, and we're also now including our thermodynamics and some of our physics questions, such as force. So remember, force is the process of an object which has mass and acceleration. And so if we are talking about objects doing work that have a force, we're looking at what is the distance that the object is moving with the force that's being pushed on it as well. So with magnets, if you think about it, and when you have them, two magnets have opposite poles on them. Some of them are going to be positive and some of them are going to be negative, and that is where the energy is being forced out through them. And that's what this portion is down here is saying. Magnetic force, this strength increases and magnets move closer together. So if you think about it, we kind of talked about this with gravity as well, is the more mass of the object, the more gravitational pull it has, as well as the distance. If you have two objects that are really close together, they are going to have a stronger gravitational force, and if things are pulled further apart, they're going to have a weak gravitational force. The same concept and same idea can also be applied to magnets, is that the closer together, the stronger the force is going to be, the further the distance, the further they're going to be. Magnets are in a lot of tools that we use daily that you might not think about, such as the Chromebook you're using right now, your cell phone. A lot of generators in your house and in your car also have small magnets in them as well. So anything that has like a simple little motor normally is made out of what we're going to call a solenoid, which we'll talk about tomorrow. But that is a magnetic force, and there's energy running through it, and that can be either done by electricity or a static charge, something along those lines. So magnetic poles, they all have them, and just think about it as the Earth. The Earth has a magnetic field, and it has a magnetic pole as well. The poles come from the north and the south at the top and the bottom of our sphere, and once again, it is due to the process of energy moving through the Earth, and it's causing this turning process that goes all the way out and creates almost this field around us. We can't see the field, but we can observe things that allow us to know that field is there. So magnetic poles, one or 2 points, such as the end of a magnet, that have opposing magnetic qualities, positive and negative. That's what it means by opposing magnetic qualities. And the pole is always going to be the strongest part of the magnet. That is where the energy and the force and the kinetic energy is the greatest there. So those poles, the north and south part, is the strongest. The field I want you to think about is 3D. So it is not something that is very flat like this picture here. We can draw out, if you were to put a magnet on a piece of paper and hold a little compass by it, you would be able to figure out the way the magnetic field is moving, but it is 3D, so it's coming out every which way. So if you think once again the Earth, and I'll show you a picture in a minute, it is circling around the whole Earth. The Earth is not flat, it is circular, and therefore the magnetic field is covering all aspects of it. So in the region where the magnetic force can be detected, that's going to be our poles, and this is once again three-dimensional. So it's going to encompass, it's going to kind of envelope the whole aspect of it. I'm going to skip over these questions. The next thing that, like I said, we were talking about is the idea that there's connections with our magnetic field and our electricity and our thermodynamics. So remember that thermodynamics is the process of energy being transferred in the form of heat. And there's three different types of thermodynamic examples: our conduction, our convection, and our radiation. So two of them are being used to produce our magnetic field here on Earth. The first is our convection, which is happening in the inner core. So if you think about the core is made up of liquid magma that is heavy in iron and nickel and other earth heavy metal elements, and it's super hot down there, so it's actually melted. So it's convecting. There's so much pressure pushed on the earth that it's causing these layers to be melted, and within that it's superheated. And remember, when we have superheated liquid, it convects, and that's what's happening in the inner core. So it's convecting, it's convecting, it's convecting, and as it does that, it radiates out this magnetic energy, because the earth, it has lots of heavy elements in them, and one of them being iron and magnetite, which is once again a magnetically charged element. So when that heat reaches it, it also is going to produce this magnetic field, and that's what this picture is showing here. So here's the sun, and here's the earth, and these are the magnetic lines. We cannot see them. We can only see observations from them through the northern lights, or auroras, if you want to think about that. So the sun is a superheated plasma type body. We'll talk about this next unit. It shoots off energy, and as it does, the Earth's magnetic field allows that energy to bounce off, and sometimes it radiates and gets closer to that strong point, the North and the South Pole. But it allows us this protection so that we do not get super radiated from it. There's theories that Mars used to be very similar like this, probably having a magnetic field, and for whatever reason, it was very weak at some point, and the sun possibly had a magnetic storm that stripped away its magnetic field, and now Mars is a dead planet. It does not have geologic activity like we do here, and part of that reason is because that magnetic field, scientists hypothesize, I shouldn't say we know this for a fact, scientists hypothesize that part of that idea is that at one point it probably did have this magnetic field, and for whatever reason it got stripped away. So magnetic fields are both directions in strength. This kind of just talks about what I just talked about with the idea that the core of the earth is made out of iron, and it is superheated, and it's convecting, and as it's convecting, it's turning, and it shoots out energy from the North Pole all the way back down to the south. And remember, that's a 3D. It's happening everywhere. Everywhere. So that is an important thing, because once again, it is protecting us from the sun, who also has magnetic fields that are ejecting particles into space. And as those are being ejected into space, it causes things to be radiated outwards. And once again, sometimes that radiation reaches Earth and can be absorbed through our atmosphere, and sometimes it just gets bounced off like a trampoline and gets sent back out into space somewhere else. So the magnetic field is really important. And what is really puzzling with scientists is that geologically, we can see that our magnetic field has flipped every so often. Sometimes it is stronger coming from the north to the South Pole, which we're used to right now. If you hold a compass, it points to the North Pole. But geologically, scientists have been able to find that sometimes the Earth's magnetic field actually was stronger in the south, and so it was going this way. And so if you were to hold a compass maybe 10 million years ago, it would have pointed south. And what's puzzling to scientists is, why does the Earth have this process? Why is it flipping back and forth? And we don't know. And scientists are able to kind of speculate that we're probably close to this flip where it might go from north to south and south to north, but we don't know what happens in that in-between stage. And what if the Earth or the sun was to have a big storm? What would that cause? These are just two questions that you can kind of use to test to see if you understood what we talked about today. And then I'm going to stop it right here because we're going to talk about our solenoids on the next day. So please make sure you visit the calendar and your assignments for the day. And if you have any questions, please do reach out.